Hello and welcome to my channel. So in this video I'm going to do a reading for the week ahead from Monday the 24th, is it 24th? I think it's 24th, for the week ahead. So I'll be doing a tarot reading using Crowley's Thoth Tarot Deck. I'll also pull some oracle cards and I'll talk a little bit about the astrology that we have this week as well. So we're starting with that. Something I want to actually touch upon before we get into this week's astrology is just to talk a little bit about last week's and how that's sort of bleeding into this week, if you like. So we've just had the full moon in Capricorn. It's the first full moon of the two full moons in Capricorn that are going to be happening. So this is a really rare event where you have two full moons in the same sign. So it's happening like in the first degree and the last degree of Capricorn. So that means that wherever Capricorn sits in your birth chart, if you have access to your own birth chart, you can see where Capricorn sits. That area of your life is getting a little bit of a highlight right now. So looking at, so say for example, like I know for me, Capricorn sits in my fourth house and that's the fourth house of home. So there's a little bit of extra looking at that area because full moons always amplify, so it's amplifying something there. So having a look at that might be really useful because we've got two full moons in that. It's just more, it's extra, if that makes sense. We've also just had the solstice and we've just moved into Cancer season. So we're definitely going to be feeling a huge shift in the energy. I certainly have. Things feel very different. And again, wherever Cancer and Capricorn sort of sit in your chart might be getting a little bit more being more amplified at this time. So it'd be really useful to know which houses those sit in. You can see what the house meaning is. So again, like looking at, say you realize it's 4th and 10th house. 4th house is about home, about emotional needs, about comfort, about like those kinds of things. And then the 10th house is about our public facing life, our career, our roles. Those actually happen to be the rulers of Cancer and Capricorn as well. So Cancer rules the 4th house and Capricorn rules the 10th house. For me, it happens to be switched in my own chart, but that's the houses that they rule. So we might see more sort of switch into that kind of stuff now. So things surrounding the home, things surrounding our public life. Obviously with Cancer season, that's going to be going on for longer. We're moving out of Capricorn now into Aquarius will be the next moon. In fact, I think it's already Aquarius now. But because we've got another Capricorn full moon, it's still kind of got a bit of that extra juju, if you like. We do also have Venus in Cancer that's happening right now, and we have Mercury in Cancer. So we've got 3 planets in Cancer. So there's a bit of a highlight there. So looking again, wherever it sits in your chart, where Cancer sits, is going to have a bit of extra amplification right now. In terms of astrology for this week, so there's actually not an awful lot going on. There's a few bits here and there, but like last week we had a lot of things happening, a lot of transits, like the solstice, like the full moon, and things moving from Gemini into Cancer, all quite close together. This week we don't have quite so much of that, but the big thing that is happening is that we've got Saturn stationing retrograde on Saturday. So you might not feel that immediately like today, but when Saturday comes around, Saturn is going to stay in a sign for 2.5 years. That is how Saturn like works. It's always it's a sign. But when something is changing, then we might feel more like they might be pulling a focus to Saturn. So Saturn is in Pisces at the moment. So again, knowing which house Pisces rules for you, you might see an extra like amplification going on there. Retrogrades are about reviewing, reevaluating, reflecting. It's all the words, right? And Saturn being the planet of limitations, of boundaries, of restrictions, of structure, of order, it's going to be asking us to review our sort of structures in the realms of the area that Pisces sits in for you. So for example, again, I'll use my own chart. My Saturn in Pisces falls in the 6th house for me. So 6th house is the house of actually like health, habits, structures. Anyway, so actually Saturn does quite well in the 6th house. So it's going to be asking for a review around my health habits, my day-to-day structures, and looking at like, do I need to change that? Is the things there that I need to look at? So again, having a look at where Saturn sits for you is going to be asking you to review the structures and the things that you might need to put in place for that area of your chart. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. There are a few other bits, but they're really kind of the main things to think about, like this shift into Cancer season, and again a bit more of this pulling focus into Saturn again, quite different to what we had like a couple of weeks ago, but it's still like the Saturn energy is kind of floating around a bit. All right, so I'm going to start with the reading to get general energy reading for the week ahead from today. So from Monday, looking at the week ahead, general energies for those watching, please. Give it a good old shuffle. Oops. Do you know what? I'm going to take that. Thank you. And there's another two there. Okay, interesting. So we've got 3 here. So I'll show you those now, and then I'll talk through what I'm seeing. So first one that came out, we've got the Sun. We've also got Queen of Swords. And we've got 4 of Wands. So first thing that's jumping out to me, the fact that we've got 2 very celebratory cards. I always think this is about, so 4 of Wands, completion, celebrating how far you've come. And the Sun is also about celebrating how far you've come. With the solstice as well that we've just had, it feels like it's a very sort of, like, from what I can see here, that it's a time to just like celebrate and enjoy the sun, especially like in the UK here, we've got loads of sun. It's really lovely. And I did sort of feel like this week is not going to be as intense as things have been, hopefully, and having a little bit more respite. We've also got here Queen of Swords, about getting some clarity. What I'm kind of getting from this actually is that we've just had this full moon in Capricorn, and I think it's really highlighted some things. Like full moon in Capricorn was very much about shining a light, because it's always about amplifying with full moons, on the things that are no longer working. So it's about release. It's about letting go of things that we don't want to carry into the next cycle. It's not always about what we're bringing in, but what we need to release in order to manifest our dreams and manifest our dream lives. So with the Queen of Swords here, it feels like we might be getting a lot of clarity this week about what's important to us, our values, the structures that we might need because of all this Saturnian energy as well, with this pulling focus towards a review of our structures. And it feels like, like it's asking us to, not so much asking us to, but that we might just have a newfound clarity that we maybe didn't have until the full moon happened last week. So things being clearer, things being easier to act upon because we know what we need to do now is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. But definitely a need, again, to continue sort of enjoying the celebration, the lightness. And I mean lightness literally, and I also mean lightness as in just like things feeling generally lighter, and celebrating more, taking more time to like spend time with loved ones, I think. Okay, so potential challenges for this week, please. Interesting. We've got 2 cards that just came out together, so I'm going to take them both. First one we've got here is 8 of Discs, or sometimes known as Pentacles, Prudence, and Queen of Wands. Very interesting. I'm going to start with this one. So this card speaks of working really hard, right? Like that's always what I think of this card. So it's Sun in Virgo. Virgo is a very devotional sign. It's like, it rules the 6th house. So it's the day-to-day, like the doing the sort of like, maintenance of life, right? So with this being a challenge, it might be hard to actually like take care of the details. This card, the shadow side of this card is that you can be overly fixated on the details and not so much on the bigger picture. So for some of you, it feels like it might be hard to sort of focus on the details, and that maybe you don't really want to. Although I do wonder, with this focus with Saturn that we've got this week, that we are being asked to focus on some details as well, but we might be finding that quite hard, probably because we've got so much sort of celebrating to do, right? And then we've also got Queen of Wands. So Queen of Wands to me speaks of like, the Queen of Wands knows what she wants, she goes after what she wants, it's creative energy. So for some of you, it feels like maybe it might be hard to access your creativity this week, and to be directive is kind of what I'm getting with this, to lead with like courage and conviction, which is quite interesting. And yeah, with combined these together, it's like there feels like there's going to be some resistance to doing the work, actually, is what I'm kind of hearing. Yeah, okay. Best part of the week, please. Yeah, again, right. Ace of Swords. Kind of thinking of like Queen of Swords here. Clarity. If you've been needing some clarity on something, you might be getting some news this week, is what I'm hearing as well. And actually what's making me think of is that we do have, so a transit that's happening that I haven't really talked about is Mercury is trining Saturn. Is that right? Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah. Okay. So what the transit means, I think it's Mercury trine Saturn, is that clarity in conversation and getting structures in place. So that is going to be quite helpful this week. I think that there's going to be maybe some constructive conversations happening this week. This also rules like, air, the mind. So the mind being sort of more about communication as well. So there's going to be some clarity and maybe some very clarifying conversations if you've needed that this week. Yeah, and that reinforced with the Queen of Swords as well. Using our logic and being sort of very discerning is what I'm hearing as well. Yeah, okay. Guidance to navigate these energies, please. Ooh. Is that too many? There's 4 cards that have come out. Let's see if one of those come back out. I think 4 is just a fraction too much. Interesting. Okay, I've kind of seen that already as well, one of these, so I'll speak to both of them. So we've got 3 of Wands here, and we've also got 10 of Wands. So this is interesting. Okay, so what I'm getting with this is not being overly hard on yourself. Again, I'm kind of thinking with Saturn, this is also a Saturn card as well. Saturn in Sagittarius creates oppression, according to this card anyway. So it feels like not letting yourself take on too much responsibility is kind of what I'm hearing. I'm also kind of getting with this, it is about taking action, but not too much. Because if you think about like looking at this card, it's like oppression. When I pull this card, it's like, where am I being too hard on myself? Where am I oppressing myself? So it's asking us to just be mindful of, yes, take responsibility, yes, take action. Yes, it might be a little bit hard to do that, but but also like enjoy this energy, have like, you know what I mean? It's like, because we've got these 2 here, it feels like it's asking for action, but it's also asking for joy and celebration, and to like not get too bogged down in responsibility in a way that becomes dense and heavy, if that makes sense, because that can be the shadow side of Saturn, of like too much density. And yeah, with this being here, whenever I get this as it being a guidance question as well, it's like, just don't be too overly like grindy. It's kind of what I get, like don't grind super hard this week, be gentler with yourself is what I'm getting. We've had so much change recently. We had, for the last like couple of weeks, we've had Wheel of Fortune, so big changes happening, big shifts in energy, like we've had with all of the Cancer, like everything moving into Cancer now. So I do feel like we're asked to take action on the things that have been illuminated around this full moon, but not too much. Anyway, maybe I've laboured that point, but I feel like that's really important to say. So celebrating, looking forward to getting some clarity this week, taking action, but just in a joyful, try and feel as joyful about it. It's because what it's really asked us to do this full moon is to focus on our life's work. It's asked us to focus on why we're really here, the bigger picture of it all. Let me feel into this for a second. Capricorn is very concerned with the work that we do for the collective. So it's about removing all of that which is getting in the way of that. But the shadow side of Capricorn is that it's so hardworking that it can be a little bit oppressive and not enjoy the process, because it's more concerned about doing the work rather than joy, if that makes sense. But we're really being asked to find joy in the process of what we're doing this week and having fun with it. Like, that feels super important. Okay, so I'm going to pull a few more oracle cards. I haven't actually pulled them out yet, but I can see the deck that is winking at me, so I'm just going to go grab it. Okay, this is the one. We've got Kyle Gray's Angel Guide Oracle deck, and as always, if you like either of these decks, the links for those are in the description. So, some additional guidance. All right, well, that's one that's fallen out already. Take that. I'll show you in a second. Hello. Okay. Interesting. All right, so here we've got expect miracles. Yeah, this is kind of what I feel like I was just talking about, like this sort of, if you've been wanting things to become clearer, then there's something here about expecting, like it's about, it feels like with this, act as if the thing that you are wanting to bring in has already happened, as opposed to sort of like buying into any scarcity. It's like tapping into a higher vibration. Like, it really feels like with the sun here and the Four of Wands here, it's about being in a higher vibration to attract things. Expect them as if like they've already happened. Like, act like what you want is already happened, rather than it being in the future is what I'm hearing. Like, I will be happy when that happens. No, be happy now, choose joy now. Like, that's the thing that's going to bring in the newfound sort of clarity that you have received in this last week. We've also got here friendship and union and forgiveness and understanding, which is really interesting. So I was kind of feeling like there is something about a need to sort of celebrate with friends, because we've got the sun here and this like is quite a friendly card, if that makes sense. So spending time with friends, and maybe for some of you it's about, because we've got this Mercury trining, like Mercury can be helpful for us this week, and Mercury is a planet of communication, having some difficult, like there was something I mentioned there, wasn't there, earlier, about having clarifying conversations this week, and maybe that you can get like, I do feel like for some of you there might be some difficult conversations that are going to be had this week, but they're going to be really helpful, and it's about leaning into the discomfort of having those conversations, and then we're going to find it easier to forgive and move on. It's like maybe these conversations have needed to happen for some time, and that's going to be happening this week, but we're going to be having supportive rather than sort of challenging transits to help this. And it feels like for some of you it's very much in the realms of your friends, your friendships. For others it might not be about having those sort of challenging conversations with friends, but it might be more just about celebrating with friends. But there's a pull of focus around your friendships this week, which is a very specific and interesting message. So for some of you, let me know if that resonates. I'd be really interested. What else have we got here? Let's see if there's any other things. I think it really is just about staying as high vibration as possible this week. Expecting miracles. I love this card as well. I mean, look at look at the artwork. It's like, act as if it's already happened. That's really the big thing I'd love to take away from this week. Don't be like, enjoy the lightness, not because this is guidance. There's some potential heaviness that could come in, but enjoy the lightness that is here. Have fun this week. Spend time and celebrate with friends. And it'll be a really good time to forgive. Like, again, I think there's going to be some conversations for some of you that's going to help to forgive and help to understand each other, help to see where they're coming from, and get some clarity on that so that you can heal and move forward and you actually become stronger as a consequence rather than like things falling apart. But again, that feels like quite a specific message. But yeah, I think that's everything for the reading. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that was helpful, insightful. Let me know what you thought in the comments. If you're not sure what to put, just leave an emoji. That always lets me know that you're there. I don't know if the like button is having a bit of issues at the moment. Let me know if it is. I know for some of you it has been, which is a bit weird. But yeah, if you do like this, liking it would be great, and if it isn't working, just let me know. And if you're enjoying this content and you're not already subscribed, subscribing is the best way to get more of this content. So thank you so much, and I will see you all in the next one. Mwah! Bye.